To start testing the EBR's damage potential, let's first look at the defending player's defensive stats. Here, we have nearly maxed out status reduction and almost capped general damage reduction. The only exception is the Storm Weaver gear set, which isn't active yet, as it requires taking damage to reach the absolute cap. On the left side of the screen, you can see the step-by-step breakdown of how we obtain these stats. For this specific test, we are utilizing two channels of defense, status and general reductions, which do all the heavy lifting against elemental weapons. Notice how the defender's HP bar dynamically shifts depending on Teddy's ultimate status. While it is active, especially with the shield up, the player's health pool barely moves. Even when the Deviant's ultimate ends, the damage increase isn't dramatic enough to force the player into cover or break the line of sight. Player can still self-sustain via Teddy's healing ability and utilizing Healing Syringe. However, as you watch further, you will notice that the Teddy cycle gets broken by the EBR's area of effect damage. This is what creates massive trouble for the defender, proving that maintaining a flawless Deviant cycle is absolutely mandatory if you don't want to die from EBR. Let's now switch to the attacker's perspective and break down the build and food buffs. For this test, we are running Layered Galaxy to gain 41% elemental damage while airborne, paired with a whimsical drink for an additional 42% status damage increase. As always, these raw numbers are fully reflected in the character's battle stats. However, it is important to mention that the mod substats are optimized for a viable, realistic build. Unlike the pure glass cannon setups we will show further, this build retains both status and weapon damage reductions to ensure the attacker can actually survive in real PvP. As the damage showcase is about to start, it is worth mentioning that the attacker will also be using Teddy to benefit from the fire rate buff this Deviant provides. This makes Teddy the ultimate dual-purpose tool, serving as both a defense and an offense powerhouse. That was a static test with max general reduction and soft-capped status reduction. Now let's change the variables. In this encounter, the defender switches from Starry Pudding to Matsutake in Butter, capitalizing on status damage reduction at the expense of general reduction, gaining an extra 16% status reduction. Additionally, the defender will start moving to showcase how aiming errors in a real fight make a kill take forever. On top of that, by rolling, a defending player can have their burn stacks, meaning it takes just 2 rolls to completely negate them. As you can see, the attacking player missing a few shots doesn't significantly decrease the EBR's total value. The reason for this is the gun's core mechanic. It only requires you to land roughly half the magazine to apply maximum burn stacks, which are the main source of damage. Unlike physical weapons that heavily punish you for losing aiming duels, this weapon rewards low-skill gameplay where mechanics barely matter, effectively closing the skill gap by doing all the work for the player. To save time, we should state up front that the attacking player will never kill the defender in this encounter. We will leave the gameplay running in the background while we show you the exact mods used for this full defense EBR build. This test might look confusing at first. You might wonder if the EBR is just weak or if it desperately needs a nerf due to its incredibly low mechanical demand. Or maybe Teddy is just too broken. The answer is both. Both the EBR and Teddy require significant nerfs. If we only remove Teddy's general reduction, the EBR will easily melt everything, leaving physical weapons completely unviable, as they have been since release. But if we only nerf the EBR, no weapon in the game will be able to deal any meaningful damage at all. The core purpose of this test, and this entire document, is to show how multiple balancing issues directly interfere with one another. For this specific case, we need a dual nerf. A great starting point would be replacing Teddy's general damage reduction during its synchronized state and ultimate trigger with a simple elemental damage reduction. As for the EBR, it should receive a dedicated PvP damage reduction modifier, a standard practice for weapons that overperform in PvP environments. Here is our exact proposal for the EBR nerf. As mentioned earlier, it currently takes just half a magazine to stack maximum burn on a target. Looking at the weapon features, it has a 50% chance to apply a stack, which mathematically aligns with that half magazine threshold. We propose cutting this to a 25% chance against other players. Furthermore, this weapon possesses an absolutely enormous 75% built-in burn damage bonus. This should be hard-capped at 40% maximum in PvP. There is your EBR nerf. But remember, removing Teddy's general damage reduction must remain the absolute priority.